My name is Toby, and I'm your financial life advisor. My goal is simple: helping everyday people understand money, protect their future, and make smarter decisions when the economy gets tough. Because right now in America, millions of people are facing something strange. They're making more money than they were a few years ago, but somehow they feel poorer. And if you've looked at your bank account lately and thought, wait, where did all my money go? You're not alone, because the biggest financial problem in 2026 isn't just inflation. It's the lasting impact of inflation. Prices may not be rising as fast as they were during the inflation spike, but here's what most people don't realize. Prices don't go backwards. When your grocery bill jumps from $120 to $180, when your rent goes from $1,400 to $2,000, when your car insurance, utilities, and everyday expenses keep creeping higher, that new price becomes the new normal. And that's where millions of American households are getting squeezed. Think about a normal American family. A few years ago, maybe they could cover housing, food, gas, a car payment, some entertainment, a little savings. Nothing crazy, just a normal middle-class life. But now, that same lifestyle costs dramatically more. The paycheck came in, but the purchasing power disappeared. That's the part nobody talks about enough. A raise doesn't always mean you're actually ahead. If your income rises 5%, but your essential expenses rise 10%, you're technically earning more. But financially, you're falling behind. Let's talk about the three biggest pressure points hitting Americans in 2026. Number 1, housing. Housing has become one of the biggest challenges for working Americans. For many people, buying a home feels like the American dream is moving further away. Mortgage rates, home prices, insurance costs, and property taxes have created a brutal combination. A person who could comfortably afford a house years ago may look at the same market today and realize that same house is completely out of reach. And it's not just buyers. Renters are feeling it too. A lot of Americans are paying a much larger percentage of their income just to have a place to live. That means less money for investing, emergency savings, retirement, building wealth. Number 2, groceries. This one hits everyone because you can't avoid food. You can cut luxury purchases. You can cancel subscriptions. You can stop eating out, but you still have to buy groceries. And the frustrating part, many people don't feel like they're buying more. They're buying the same stuff, same cereal, same chicken, same coffee, same household items. But the receipt keeps getting longer. A $100 grocery trip that used to fill your car now feels like it barely covers the basics. That creates a psychological problem too. People start feeling like they're failing with money, when the reality is that the entire cost structure around them has changed. Number 3, transportation. Gas prices are one part of the story, but the bigger issue is the total cost of owning a vehicle. Car prices increased. Interest rates made auto loans more expensive. Insurance premiums climbed. Maintenance costs increased. So even if someone isn't driving more, their vehicle is costing them more. And for millions of Americans, a car isn't optional. It's how they get to work. It's how they take their kids to school. It's how they live their daily life. Now here's where things get interesting, because the biggest mistake people make during a cost of living crisis is focusing only on cutting small expenses. Yes, saving money matters, but you can't budget your way out of everything. You can only cut so much. You can only remove so many subscriptions. You can only buy so many cheaper groceries. At some point, the bigger question becomes, how do I increase my financial power? Because there are two sides of the equation: expenses and income. Most people spend all their energy fighting expenses. But wealthy people also focus on increasing their ability to earn. Here's the reality in 2026. The old formula: get a stable job, save a little, buy a house, retire comfortably, is becoming harder for many people. That doesn't mean the game is over. It means the strategy needs to change. The people who survive and thrive are usually the ones who adapt. They ask, what can I control? Because you may not control grocery prices, you may not control interest rates, you may not control the housing market, but you can control your skills, your spending habits, your savings rate, your investment decisions, your ability to create more income. And this is the biggest mindset shift. A lot of people see rising costs and think, I'm stuck. But financially successful people think differently. They ask, where is the opportunity inside this problem? Because every economic challenge creates winners and losers. The people who panic usually make emotional decisions. They use more credit cards, they delay investing, they increase lifestyle spending when money gets tight, and that creates a deeper hole. In the next part, we're going to break down exactly why this cost of living crisis happened, what changed after the inflation boom, and the practical moves normal Americans can make in 2026 to fight back. Because the goal isn't just surviving higher prices, the goal is building a financial system that works even when the economy changes. Now let's talk about the bigger picture. Because if you're wondering, why does everything feel so expensive? The answer is not just one thing. It's a combination of events that change the entire financial environment for everyday Americans. And understanding the reason behind the problem is important, because you can't fix a problem you don't understand. The first major factor was the inflation surge that started in the early 2020s. After the pandemic, the economy went through a massive shift. People changed how they worked, companies changed how they operated, supply chains were disrupted, demand increased, and suddenly there was more pressure on the system than businesses could handle. The result? Prices moved higher, a lot higher. Now here's where many people get confused. They hear, inflation is coming down, and they think, great, prices should go back down. But that's not how inflation works. Inflation slowing down does not mean prices return to the old level. It only means prices are increasing slower. Imagine walking up a hill. Inflation slowing down means you're walking slower. But you're still going uphill. You're still higher than where you started. That's why so many Americans feel frustrated. The news says inflation improved, but your grocery bill says something completely different. Let's look at a real-life example. Imagine someone making $60,000 per year. A few years ago, their monthly expenses might have looked like this. Housing, $1,500. Food, $500. Transportation, $400. Insurance and bills, $400. Total, around $2,800. They had room. Maybe they saved. Maybe they invested. Maybe they enjoyed life. Now imagine the same person today. Housing increased. Insurance increased. Food increased. Transportation increased. The paycheck may be higher, but the breathing room is gone. The problem isn't always that people are irresponsible. Sometimes the math itself became harder. Another huge issue is housing, and this is where many Americans feel trapped. For years, buying a home was seen as the ultimate financial move, a place to live, a long-term investment, a way to build wealth. But the housing market changed dramatically. Home prices climbed, interest rates changed, borrowing costs. And suddenly many potential buyers found themselves in a difficult position. They were earning enough to survive, but not enough to comfortably enter the market. This created another problem. People stayed renters longer, and when more people compete for rentals, prices can rise. So now you have a situation where buying feels expensive, renting feels expensive, and people feel stuck in the middle. But here's the part most people overlook. A cost of living crisis is not only about prices, it's also about financial habits. Because two people can experience the exact same economy and get completely different results. One person sees higher prices and says, I need to completely give up. Another person says, okay, what can I change? That difference matters. For example, someone making $70,000 per year may still struggle if their car payment is too high, their lifestyle expanded too quickly, they have expensive debt, they don't track spending, they rely on credit cards. Meanwhile, someone making less money but controlling their expenses and investing consistently may build a stronger financial foundation. Income matters. But how you manage income matters too. Now let's talk about the biggest hidden enemy, lifestyle inflation. This happens when your income rises and your spending rises with it. You get a raise, you upgrade your apartment, you buy a nicer car, you eat out more, you add subscriptions, you start spending like your higher income is permanent. Then suddenly, the raise disappears. You're making more money, but you don't feel richer. In 2026, this is one of the biggest traps, because social media makes it worse. You constantly see people showing luxury cars, expensive vacations, designer products, perfect lifestyles. And it creates pressure. People think everybody is doing better than me. But a lot of those lifestyles are funded by debt. A person can look wealthy and still be financially fragile. So what do smart people do differently? They focus on building a financial buffer. First, they protect cash flow. They know exactly where their money goes, not because they hate spending, because awareness creates control. Second, they eliminate expensive debt. High-interest credit card debt is one of the biggest wealth killers. If your credit card charges 20% or more interest, investing while carrying that debt is like trying to fill a bucket with a giant hole in the bottom. The money keeps leaking. Third, they increase their earning ability. This is where many people need a mindset change. Your biggest financial asset is not your car, it's not your house, it's your ability to produce income, learning new skills, improving your career, starting a side income, negotiating better pay. These things can completely change your financial future because the truth is, you cannot always control the economy, but you can build yourself to become more financially resilient. The people who win during difficult times are usually not the people who predicted everything perfectly. They are the people who prepared. And in the final part, I'm going to give you a practical 2026 survival plan. The exact moves everyday Americans can use to handle higher costs, rebuild savings, protect their future, and create more financial freedom. Because the goal is not just making it through this expensive economy, the goal is becoming stronger because of it. Now we get to the most important part, because understanding the problem is useful, but knowing what to do next is what actually changes your life. If you're watching this and thinking, okay, Toby, I understand everything is more expensive, but what can I actually do about it? That's the right question, because you don't need to control the entire economy. You need a strategy for your own household. In 2026, the people who stay financially strong are not necessarily the people making the most money. They are the people who build systems. A system that protects them when prices rise. A system that creates more income. A system that gives them options. So let's talk about the moves that actually matter. Step 1. Take control of your cash flow. The first thing you need is awareness. Most people know their income. They know their paycheck. But they don't know where every dollar disappears. And that's a problem, because money leaks quietly. A few extra subscriptions, a few more restaurant visits, a higher car payment, a bigger phone plan. Small things add up. The goal is not to become someone who never spends money. That's unrealistic. The goal is to know. What is my money doing every month? Create 3 categories: needs, wants, future. Needs are things you have to pay: housing, food, transportation, insurance, utilities. Wants are lifestyle choices: entertainment, shopping, upgrades, trips. Future is savings, investing, debt payoff. The mistake many people make is paying everyone else first and hoping something is left over. Flip the order. Pay your future first, even if it starts small. Step 2. Build an emergency fund. In an expensive economy, cash flexibility is power. Because emergencies don't wait for the perfect time. Your car breaks down. Your hours get reduced. A medical bill appears. Life happens. And when you have no savings, you usually have only one option: debt. That's why an emergency fund matters. A good target is usually 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. Not because cash makes you rich. Because cash prevents desperation. Think about it. Someone with $10,000 saved during a difficult situation has choices. Someone with 0 savings and maxed out credit cards has pressure. Same economy, different position. The emergency fund creates breathing room. Step 3. Attack high-interest debt. This is one of the fastest ways to improve your financial situation. Credit card debt is dangerous because interest compounds against you. You're not just paying for what you bought, you're paying extra for the privilege of carrying the balance. And with many credit cards charging high interest rates, that debt can grow quickly. So create a plan. Pay more than the minimum. Target the highest interest debt first. Stop adding new debt. Because every dollar you stop losing to interest is a dollar you can use to build wealth. Step 4. Increase your income power. This is the part many people avoid. They focus only on cutting expenses. But there is a limit. You can only cut so much. You can only make your grocery bill smaller so many times. You can only cancel so many subscriptions. But your income? Your income can grow. And in 2026, this is where people need to think differently. Your job is not just a paycheck. It is a platform, a place to build skills, a place to increase your value. Ask yourself, what skill could increase my income? Maybe it's technology, sales, communication, AI tools, programming, marketing, a trade, a certification, a better career path. A $2,000 or $3,000 investment in yourself could potentially create thousands more in income over time. The best investment many people can make is becoming more valuable. Step 5. Stop trying to look rich. This one is tough because America has a culture of showing success. The car, the house, the lifestyle. But looking wealthy and being wealthy are completely different. A financed luxury car can look impressive, but a growing investment account is what creates freedom. A big house can look successful, but owning assets is what creates security. The question is this purchase making my future stronger? Or is this purchase making my present look better? The wealthy mindset is simple. Buy assets first. Upgrade lifestyle later. Let your money create the lifestyle. Don't sacrifice your future just to display your present. Step 6. Build multiple financial engines. The old idea was one job, one paycheck, one retirement account. But the world is changing. Many financially successful people build multiple income sources. That could be investments, side businesses, freelancing, digital products, real estate, skills that create opportunities. The point is not to work 24 hours a day. The point is not depending on one single source forever. More options create more security. So here is the reality of America's cost of living crisis in 2026. Yes, things are expensive. Yes, many households are under pressure. Yes, the old financial path is becoming harder. But that does not mean you are powerless. The people who win are the ones who adapt. They stop blaming the environment. They start building inside the environment. They control what they can control. Your financial future will not be decided by one grocery trip, one paycheck, or one bad year. It will be decided by the habits you repeat, the choices you make, the systems you build. Narrator, Toby. I'm Toby, your financial life advisor, and my mission is to help you understand money in a world that keeps changing. Because financial freedom is not about being perfect, it's about making smarter moves consistently. If you're feeling the pressure of higher prices, start small. Track your money, protect your cash, reduce expensive debt, increase your skills, build assets, one decision at a time. Because the goal's not just surviving the cost of living crisis, the goal's building a life where rising prices don't control your future. Thanks for watching. And remember, your money should work for you, not the other way around. See you in the next one.